Right. Hi, guys. I'm doing this session actually because you guys would not be able to listen to this one in a formal classroom session because we have decided to offer our session to one of the most important industry talks. So, therefore, I decided to do this thing online, just set of short, maybe two sessions of the video so that you will be able to decide whether to add or drop, whether to get registered or not to this subject. So I'll be today basically walking through you the basics of the subjects as well as how we are going to deliver that thing. In other words, how we are going to learn this subject and what exactly the kind of activities that you would be engaged in. Right, so let's kick start and see what it is. So we are doing we do this subject basically to learn about e-business and the way e-business operates, and importantly to know the what challenges the businesses would be having in the today's digital sort of world, and the way the customers behave in this kind of digital environments. So therefore we basically talk about these firms in digital world at the introduction, and this particularly the introduction that you would be listening to in order for you to get an idea about what we are basically dealing with. Moving on, and in this module, what you would be basically doing is something similar to this. So you would be basically doing more of the work, and I will be someone like this baby on the slide. So I'll be like relaxing and laughing and smiling and doing the engaging in the discussion, while you guys would be mainly engaging and doing the work. So it's fun for me, and yeah, hopefully I think that it will be fun for you as well. So you'll be basically engaged in many interactive sessions, and we will be basically talking about the way things should be and the way it should be really done in taking the real life examples, as well as you'll be working continuously with an assigned organization or the one that you would create for yourself, and we'll be basically dealing with those organizations and try to relate what we learn in the classroom to those kind of organizations. Right, so we basically engage in uh, I would say co-creation, that you guys do more of a work, and you guys would be feeding into these sessions more than I would do. That doesn't mean that I keep my mouth shut, but it's just that I would not be basically delivering a conventional lecture. Right. Well, you know who I am, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one. So yes, I am Lee, and I'll be the same guy that you used to see me maybe like a year ago. And yeah, what is it? What is it? It's like, what is this e-business, and what are we going to basically learn in it? So let's see what you would be basically doing. So it's basically if I ask this question, is it about the technology, or is it about the website selling a product, or is it about doing business, or is it about restructuring business? What do you think about when you're talking about the business, and what you would be basically doing in this subject? So sometimes people think when it comes to e-business, it's all about doing this e-marketing thing and you run certain campaigns. Well, we would be doing that as well, but that's not the business is all about. The business is bigger and larger than just the e-communication or e-advertising. And the other thing would be people thinking something when somebody hears the word e-business, uh, immediate the response anybody would get is Amazon or eBay, and they might be thinking that yes, we would be basically looking into that. Well, not necessarily, but yes, you would be talking about those kind of stuff as well. But we are not talking about this e-commerce thing or the transaction part of it only, and it's not about just that. We are talking about the whole value generation process, and more importantly, understanding the customer in the new world, as we call it. That's the new world. That's the e-customer, and their behavior are totally different from the actual real world behavior. So the same customer you find in the real world, and the same customer would be there in the virtual world, the new world, and their behaviors are totally different, and they're not isolated as well. I mean, their behavior is not isolated from the real world as well. So it's kind of a behavior that you can see, which is kind of merged together, and you get a lot of input from either world and put them into the other. So that kind of complex interaction is there, and we are going to manage that part as well. Manage in the sense looking into that part, and basically design a business model, restructuring and designing the business models so that this value delivery generation and delivery is enhanced. All right, so that's what it is in nutshell about what we are going to do. So let's see our course outline for this semester. Well, that should be here. Yep. So we have Miss Ruantika and Miss Uyeni as the assigned tutors. Though they are tutors, they would not be appearing much in the scene because we will be basically engaged in a lot of activities, so that I'll be there in most of the time in your tutorial classes. But these tutorial classes would not be the conventional tutorial classes that you would have been engaging in the other situations. This is kind of different, and we will do basically we will have the discussions with regards to the actual business that you have chosen, or the one that you would set up, and then we will be basically applying the thing what we learn in stage wise or phase wise to this business, and we'll be basically engaged in those kind of discussions. Well, I'm not quite sure about the tutorial time, so this particular thing may not be entirely accurate, but we have the scheduled lecture on Thursday from 8 to 10, and classroom also I have to check, I'm not quite sure. So we have this evaluation would be based on continuous assessment as well as the final year paper, and the continuous assessment carries 50% of your total assessment, and that you would be engaged in mainly the project, which is called Do It Online project or DO project. I actually rename it to DIT-PRE project, so this could be the DIT-PRE project as well as the case presentations, in the sense you would not be having cases as such, but you will be basically presenting your business at different stages. And your final examination would carry 50 marks of the total assessment, but that 50% also split into two. 50% of the marks for the final paper would be tested on a case, and you would be given a pre-zine of the case roughly about 2 weeks prior to the examination, and there's pre-zine, and then you'll be asked questions based on that case, and there will be like certain inclusions to the case at the examination. And more importantly, why this pre-scene is given is that you are expected to discuss among yourself and find the real facts, and engage with that, so that whatever you write, it's on the real thing, it's not a hypothetical sort of situation. But the case would be like it's not entirely a real case, but it's usually rooted into the real scenario that we can actually find the actual data about, and have sensible models. So we're basically talking about e-business technologies and the interaction. So there are a lot of things that we'll be basically talking about, and then we looked into the quick kind of assessment about the environment. I know you might have heard of some of these things in different subjects, but we'll be bringing these different environmental forces and factors, and we'll see that in the e-business context, so that you can actually map the opportunities and identify the threats, and see how the consumers behave and their different behavioral patterns, how do they sort of influence the business. and we do the profitability analysis of a particular industry that you'd be kind of engage in, as well as the competitor analysis. And then we'll be talking about the e-business strategy formulation. And yeah, this is again the generic strategies we'll be talking about, but those things are more attuned to the businesses, so that we'll be basically having a wide discussion of how to ensure the strategy through different models, e-business models, and different implementation, and how the technology can be infused into the whole scenario. And of course, the marketing is there, so that we will basically try to understand the e-business e-customers, in this context, and then how their behavior is different from the normal customers in the real world. And then we also look into the different e-advertising and communication options we have, like the Facebook, for instance, the social media, and the search engine optimization, and how we are going to basically reach the customer, and what kind of different challenges that we would be basically up against. And this particular lecture, usually I ask industry person. That's actually I asked the head of IT. He used to be head of IT of the Sampath Bank, and he used to take up this thing. I just asked him to actually talk about this different e-payment and the whole payment gateway systems, and how the cards and stuff work. Yes, business process integrations. There we basically do the business process analysis and modeling and integration, so that the new business, that the new conversions that you introduce into the businesses would start generating value that it has to generate, that it is expected to generate. And then we'll be talking about the customer relationship management, which is a very important and vital part of e-business. Sorry about that. E-business, because you need to basically understand the customers, and you need to basically keep the relationships with the customers, and you need to enhance those things, and why it is important, and how we are going to do that is something that we are going to talk here. And finally, we'll be basically putting them all together in a sort of plan like thing, so that you would at the end of the day write a short business plan to convert a business that you choose, right? And that's it. And these are the two textbooks that you can actually get yourself. Actually, they're okay. They're really good, especially the second one. This one is really good, and you can actually refer to any e-business. But one thing that you need to be careful about is, like when it comes to e-business, most of the time these books are written for non-IT people, so they immediately start talking about HTML and Web 2.0 and all sort of things, and databases and backend systems and stuff like that, which is not that important for you guys. You guys know about this, and so what we really need to focus about is modeling the business so that it suits in the new world, rather than basically falling into this IT technology domain, where they start talking about different technologies and introduce technology for non-IT people. So that's something that you need to be very careful with, whatever the other books that you choose. But these two books don't do that mistake, so it's just fine, and it's really good. And the second book is really good. So I'm not quite sure whether this is available in the library, but I had actually recommended already this book, so hopefully that has already by this time it had reached, but I had to check. I don't know. Right. The other important thing is the project. That's the DITP project. DITP stands for Do It Digital Project. So that you here, it's not a hypothetical project. It's not something that you go and visit a company and write something about the company that you would be doing with the other, typical sort of subjects. But here we are going to basically do something with the organization, for the organization, considering the real issues and challenges the organization is up against. So the main objective here is to for you to get a real life situation scenario, so that you know exactly what the problems, challenges that they face, and what the strategies. Sometimes you find that they do not have a strategy necessarily, so that in that case you need to basically create one also, and then you need to structure the, you need to analyze the internal processes, and you need to basically re-engineer the business processes, realign them, and like map that with the real world, map that with the new world, and identify the different customers scenarios, behaviors in the new world. But you do that with the real customers, so that's interesting, and real businesses. The important thing is, like, when you're working with a real business, you always have these resource constraints, and you cannot just do things the way, in a hypothetical situation. You always do all sort of fancy things, and there's no limit when you talk about hypothetical situation. But here we always deal with these resource limitations, as well as people are always, the business people, they want their profits. It's something that we cannot go kind of forget about. So in hypothetical situation, you do not have those pressures, and you do not, I mean, when whatever the money that you spend on, you don't need to basically, in a hypothetical situation, to talk about the return. But here, when you suggest something, you need to show that how it might bring the benefits to the organization. And that's what we are going to do. So there are actually namely there are 4 phases. This implementation phase is not something, these 2 phases, though I included them here in the project, that's, I'm not basically serious about these 2, but the other parts are very important. So what you need to do here in this project is that there are 2 options that you can do. Either you select an organization which is not a big organization like Unilever or Procter and Gamble or Nestle. You do not pick big organization. You pick an organization where there's a potential that you can actually convert them to any business. So you pick an organization, and then you work with that organization from the beginning to the end, and you study and you analyze. You get to know about their customers, you get to know about their offerings, and then you work with them, and you make the suggestions. You change the business model so that it'll start operate as a business as well. So that's what the main idea is. So you will be basically doing basically converting a existing business to an e-business, and this is what this project is all about. Or as the second option, that's the first option. The second option is for you to start your own organization if you're really interested in. And in the past, actually, many people have started with their own organization, and some have actually continued their businesses as well. And if you already have a business, yes, you are most welcome to bring it in. Or else you can actually, if you're so much interested in starting off your own business, this is the time. Get started, and I'll be there. I'll be helping you out in most of the scenarios, and we can actually get that role and make it a real business. So you have those 2 options, as I mentioned earlier. The first option is to pick an organization. The second option is to start your own organization. So either way, it's fine. But the important thing is, like, by the second week of the thing, you need to decide on. That means by next week, you need to decide on an organization, and then you need to talk to those people prior to this project, and then you have to say that this is what we are going to do. We are going to convert your organization into e-business. Now that doesn't mean that you're just wiping out the organization. You just introduce that e-business part, infuse that e-business part into the organization. But it's not just putting up a website, or else just running a campaign in Facebook, it's not restricted to that. We try to re-engineer the business process. We understand that, we analyze that, and we try to re-engineer them so that it suits to the business model, e-business model that we want to bring up, and it is aligned with the value generative process or the strategic position that the organization should take. So when the organizations do not have the strategies, it's your job to basically let them see the what appropriate strategy that they need to basically, what differentiations that they need to bring in to the organization, and how those differentiation or strategies are supported through different activities, and those activities are the e-business activities that we'll be proposing. Right. And then you do various in different phases. What you basically do is that you engage at different levels with the organization to do this analysis and to model and to determine the various strategic directions and design a business model and the value generation process. And then when you're doing it, it's just a continuous process. Like I would love if people go and every week, meet and sit with these people, the organization, the managers or owners or whoever they are, and discuss and bring solutions every week to them, and discuss and get their feedback and change these things. So you would be basically implementing these things at the same time you are doing the design. So like you'll be doing some analysis, and at the same time you are proposing something, and if possible you look into the implementation as well. So this implementation doesn't mean that you go ahead and develop systems from the scratch. That's not what the implementation is about. Implementation means that you basically try to implement an e-business model and e-business systems in it, and you can recommend, actually you don't have to develop them from the scratch. You can look into various options, and you basically suggesting and let them see the importance and how you're going to do this thing. So that's what it is. And usually I'll be basically gathering these reports, and this is the only assignment that you have, so we do not have any other sort of assessments as the continuous assessment. Like you won't be sort of but only thing that you would be basically, sometimes I might ask you to run a campaign and do some activities in between, so that you need to for instance, if I ask you to run a campaign and write a small report on that, then you have to do that. At the same time, sometimes I ask you to do some small activities, like do this, do that, and study and write a mini report on these certain topics that I give. So those are the weekly basis things that you would be engaged in. So it's like mostly you are engaged 99% time, you are engaged and you're doing things, rather than you sit in a lecture and listen to this thing. The same rules get applicable here as well, that you don't need to strain yourself with conventional sort of classroom environment. You can do anything in the classroom. You can actually, I want you to be, like as I always say, be like set of chimpanzees, like you should be everywhere. You should be on the table. You should be on the idea is that you should be really active in this classroom, because it's not just a conventional classroom that we are talking about. It's just totally sort of engaged, and you'd be experiencing and applying the things that you learn, and it's a total engagement project. So that's the overview of the entire thing that we are going to do for the next 13 or 14 weeks to come. And yes, so that's the introduction I need to give, but there are a set of slides that I usually take up, and I'll do that in the second stage. So I'm going to stop this video for now, and in the second video we'll meet again, and we'll continue this discussion. Thank you.